Today I'd like to introduce Debbie Patti, attorney and president of Settlements Limited. Debbie has been around since 1986, and Debbie is an icon in the closing and title industry in Pittsburgh. So Deb, being in the business for 35 years, you have to be doing something correct. What do you attribute your success to?
Basically, my team. I have a great staff with over 100 years of experience combined in the title and closing industry. We work well together. We double check each other's work, so we are efficient and accurate, and that I think is the key to success. But basically, I have a great team behind me.
Good. And I know you do. So I wanted to drill down on a few questions to better understand the closing process. Could you explain the process from the time your company receives a transaction from a realtor until the time we are ready to set up the closing?
So from the very beginning until the very end, the process is receipt of this agreement of sale, the contract between the buyer and seller to handle this transaction. At that point, we order a title search, which is a review of all of the documents that are of record, mortgages, deeds, judgments, things that may affect the title to the property, your right to physically own the property. So we're looking at various offices, recorder's offices, federal courthouses, local courthouses. We are examining anything that is filed related to the real estate that we're dealing with. In addition to that, we're ordering things like municipal no lien letters that tell us if the municipality or the township has anything outstanding or questionable on this piece of property that needs to be dealt with. We're ordering tax certifications, water letters, sewer letters. Once all of those are received and a lender is ready or a buyer is ready with his cash, then we are in a position to close. We physically handle the paperwork, the preparation of the paperwork, the signing and notarization of the paperwork. The last steps are the recording of the deed, and if there's a mortgage involved, the recording of the mortgage, so that this paperwork is of record, that everybody knows that this buyer now officially owns this property, and the issuance of the title insurance policy, which is the buyer's guarantee in terms of the accuracy of the title.
Great explanation. What is the difference between a special warranty deed and a general warranty deed? And is the title search done differently?
Title search is the same no matter what kind of deed. And I would just like to mention, in addition to a special warranty deed or a general warranty deed, you have other types of deed, like a fiduciary deed. If the seller is in a estate or a trust, you have maybe a quitclaim deed where you have a spouse or an heir saying, I'm releasing the interest that I have, if any, to the property. So there are other types of deeds, but the two that we see the most often are special and general. Our agreements of sale in Pennsylvania default to a special warranty deed, which says, I, the seller of the property, have not done anything to encumber this title to the property. As far as I know, the title to this property is basically free and clear of any liens, encumbrances, other than what I have disclosed to you, which is usually something like a mortgage. The general warranty deed, on the other hand, says, I, the seller of this property, and all of the sellers behind me in this property haven't done anything to encumber the title to the property, which, when you think about it, is a relatively ridiculous statement for a seller to have to make, and which is why we changed the agreement of sale to default to the special warranty deed. It basically says, all the way to the land grant to the king, that we haven't done anything to encumber the title to this property. The distinction between a special warranty deed and a general warranty deed has become less important, because most of the time we do see buyers purchasing title insurance. So that's going to cover any discrepancies, any errors, any problems that we have with the title. So most people are willing to accept now the special warranty deed.
Okay, great. I know that Settlements Limited offers an enhanced title policy versus the standard title insurance policy. Explain the differences and the benefits the buyer is getting with the enhanced policy.
we default to the enhanced policy. We highly recommend that the buyer purchase the enhanced policy. It does cover an additional premium. It's a small charge in addition to the cost of the standard policy, but we feel that it offers a lot of benefits. The most important benefit, I think, is the standard policy stays at the sales price that you purchase the property. The enhanced increases in value during the time that you own the property. So if you look at the real estate market that we've experienced in the last couple of years, those increases in value have been rather dramatic. Your policy, if it's an enhanced policy, covers that. It increases that. It covers things in addition, like if somebody forges a deed or a mortgage on your property after you have closed, the enhanced will take care of that. It will protect your property. It will make sure that the forgery is undone, and that may sound unbelievable, it may sound impossible, but it happens. It happens all the time. Fraud and forgery in this business are probably some of the biggest problems that we need to deal with. So the enhanced covers you if that happens after the fact. Your standard policy would cover any forgery or fraud up to the time of closing, but the enhanced goes further and carries forward to things that may happen after you close. It also covers things like if you discover that an addition was put on the property. For instance, let's say somebody put a bedroom into a basement of a property without obtaining the appropriate building permits or the permissions of the township. So it covers those kinds of things as well, things that you can't even really discover as a result of a title search.
Then hearing what you're saying, Deb, why would someone not want to get the enhanced policy? Is it just money?
More often than not, there are people that say, I don't need a title insurance policy. Didn't you do a title search? What people don't understand is you're dealing with sometimes human error. We're looking at things in a recorder's office, in a department of real estate or court records. It's individuals, it's humans that are indexing those. It's very easy to transpose letters to make it difficult to find something that may affect title to the property. So the title insurance is going to guarantee you if something is missed because of a human error in a recorder's office, that you are covered. Without the title insurance policy, you have no coverage. And the other thing that I think of is if you see these ads that are on television nowadays, the companies are advertising this lock in your title protection. We will make sure that your property rights are protected. Those companies are charging a fee every month, and they can't really cure or fix the title. All they do is alert you to the fact that you may have this forgery or this issue going on. The title insurance policy goes a step further and makes sure that it's corrected. Sorry.
Now here's a loaded question. What are some of the things that you and your team run into that could delay a closing?
Okay, delay of closing.
Try to keep it under an hour.
And I'll only talk about things that really affect the buyer, because there are a lot of things that sellers can do that can delay closing. But from a buyer standpoint, the biggest things are not having appropriate government issued photo ID. So you need something like a driver's license that's current and not expired, or if you don't drive, you need a state issued ID. Checking to make sure that you have that prior to closing is, I think, a very good idea. If you show up to closing and you say, well, all I have is my Giant Eagle Advantage card, that doesn't work. So passport, driver's license, state issued ID, that's one of the big ones. Other things that may delay closing is if the seller's taking out a mortgage and a buyer's taking out a mortgage and the buyer is not rapidly responding to the lender's request for documentation. That can delay the closing, as well as the settlement company will be asking for information from the buyer. Very often we need social security numbers for turning in paperwork to the municipality. If we don't receive those in a timely fashion, that can delay closing.
Okay. Now this is good information, and if you're a buyer, please listen to this again, because there's a lot of things that I've learned just listening to Debbie, and I've been doing this for 31 years and I'm just a little bit taken back on it. Debbie, if a buyer has questions after closing about anything about the title or what happened, what is the process and how do they get a hold of your company?
The buyer can always call me as the attorney and the owner of the company. You have access to our contact through our website. settlementsltd.com. You'll receive a business card at the time of closing from the individual that conducts your closing, handles your paperwork. Feel free to call that individual after closing. You've probably had contact with the various processors throughout the processing of your file. Feel free to call any of those individuals, and if they cannot answer your question, they can always refer you to the appropriate individual in the company that can. But again, a lot of information and contact is on our website and our business cards.
Okay. Debbie, I wanted to thank you for taking the time today, supporting the Say Hey team and all the realtors in Pittsburgh. Like I said, you are an icon in the business. I've been working with you for a long time. And if you have any questions, please contact Debbie and her team. They are very good at what they do.
I feel that it's really a privilege to work with the Say Hey team, that they trust us to handle their clients' transactions. When you think about it, this is the largest financial purchase that probably any individual makes. And I think it's really an honor to work, and I think it's exciting to be able to help a buyer buy a home, whether it's a new home, whether they're moving up to a bigger home because they've increased their family, or if they're at the stage in their life where they're downsizing and moving into a smaller home. Usually it's a very exciting time in a person's life, and it's really a privilege to be a part of that. So thank you very much.